Hello, I'm Bretton, one of our MCAT tutors here at Inspira Advantage, where we help students get into med school and other professional programs. Today, we're going to talk about a really cool part of the biochem and psychos sections of the MCAT, consciousness and consciousness-altering drugs. Let's jump on into it. Consciousness is the state of being awake and aware of one's surroundings, thoughts, and emotions, while alertness is a measure of how awake and engaged someone is. This can actually be reflected in the brain's electrical activity as measured by an electroencephalogram, or an EEG. When alert or concentrating, the EEG shows beta waves for a busy active mind. These are high in frequency and low in amplitude. However, when somebody is awake but tired with eyes closed, this is when we're going to have alpha waves, which are lower frequency and more synchronous. These are really the only big brain waves you need to know for the MCAT, but the others are here as well. If you're interested, you can pause the video and take a look. Now let's shift gears into understanding how attention works. So attention is the process of selectively focusing on specific aspects of our environment while ignoring others. It is a complex cognitive process that involves a variety of factors, including taking that sensory input and the arousal level, as well as the effort of the person trying to focus their attention. Attention can then be subdivided into three main types: selective attention, divided attention, and sustained attention. Selective attention is the ability to focus on one thing while ignoring others. It is influenced by a variety of factors, including the salience of the target, the complexity of the task, and the individual's goals and motivations. One way to measure selective attention is through a Stroop task, which involves naming the color of a word while ignoring its meaning. Next, we have divided attention. This is the ability to focus on two or more things at the same time. It is influenced by the complexity of the task, the level of how automatic the task is, and the individual's prior experience with the tasks. One way to measure divided attention is through the dual task paradigm, which involves performing two tasks simultaneously, like driving and singing Taylor Swift. Finally, we have sustained attention. This is the ability to maintain focus on a task over an extended period of time. It is influenced by factors such as motivation, arousal level, and task difficulty. One way to measure sustained attention is through the continuous performance task, which involves responding to a specific stimulus while ignoring all others, and to see how long they can sustain the attention. So now that we understand attention, let's move into conscious-altering drugs. So drugs can have a significant impact on alertness and attention, as well as other aspects of consciousness. Let's start our discussion with depressants. Depressants are drugs that slow down the activity of the CNS. They can cause drowsiness, confusion, and reduced reaction time. Examples of depressants include alcohol, barbiturates, and benzodiazepines. All of those you need to know for the MCAT. Depressants work by enhancing the activity of the neurotransmitter GABA, which has a calming effect on the brain. Next, stimulants. These are kind of the opposite of our depressants. They are going to cause an increase in activity of the central nervous system, as well as causing feelings of alertness, euphoria, and increased energy. Examples of stimulants include amphetamines, cocaine, and ecstasy, as well as caffeine. Stimulants work by increasing the levels of neurotransmitters such as dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin in the synaptic cleft. Next, we have opiates. Opiates and opioids are drugs that act on the brain's opioid receptors to produce pain relief and feelings of euphoria. They can also cause drowsiness and reduced alertness. Examples of opioids you need to know for the MCAT include heroin, morphine, opium, oxycodone, and hydrocodone. You also need to know how these drugs kill someone in an overdose, which is through death by respiratory depression, which is essentially you just stop breathing. Next, and less deadly than opioids, are hallucinogens. So our hallucinogens are drugs that produce altered states of consciousness, including changes in perception, mood, and thought. Examples of hallucinogens you need to know are LSD, peyote, mescaline, and ketamine. These can cause confusion, altered senses of time and space, as well as reduced ability to think clearly. Something that all of these drugs have in common, except arguably maybe not hallucinogens, are that they are involved with the mesolimbic pathway. This is the brain circuit involved in mediating drug addiction. It includes the nucleus accumbens, medial forebrain bundle, and VTA, or ventral tegmental area. The main neurotransmitter involved in the mesolimbic pathway that I'm sure you've heard a lot about is dopamine. When drugs activate this pathway, it essentially causes a dopamine spike, as well as feelings of pleasure and reward, which can lead to addiction. Now you know all of the high-yield MCAT information you need to crush consciousness, attention, and drugs on the MCAT. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.